Emma loved her daily walks with Max. It was their special time, a chance for her to escape the buzz of schoolwork and the sometimes noisy world around her. The neighborhood park, with its winding paths and tall oak trees, felt like their own little sanctuary. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden glow that made the leaves shimmer. Children's laughter echoed softly in the distance, and the faint smell of freshly cut grass mixed with the scent of blooming flowers. Max trotted happily beside Emma, his large paws padding softly on the concrete path. He was a beautiful German shepherd with a sleek black and tan coat and wise, amber eyes that always seemed to be watching the world carefully. But Max wasn't just any dog, he was special. Years ago, Max had served as a police K9, trained to find missing people and help keep the community safe. Now retired, he had found a new home with Emma and her family, who treated him like a hero. Emma smiled as she tightened her grip on Max's leash. She loved how calm and confident he was, even with all the distractions around them. Sometimes, she thought Max seemed to understand more than most people, like he could sense when someone needed help, or when something wasn't quite right. As they walked along the edge of the park, Emma noticed a few familiar faces. Neighbors waved hello from their porches, and kids on bikes sped past with grins on their faces. It was the kind of afternoon that made you feel lucky to live somewhere so peaceful. Yet, despite the calm, Emma felt a flutter of nervousness deep in her chest. It wasn't fear, just a strange feeling, like something was about to happen. She glanced down at Max, who seemed to sense it too. His ears twitched, and his eyes flicked toward the street. "Don't worry, Max," Emma whispered, giving his leash a reassuring squeeze. "Everything's fine." Max let out a soft woof in reply, but the air had already shifted. Far down the road, a low rumble grew louder and louder, echoing against the quiet houses. The roar of a motorcycle cut through the peaceful afternoon like a sudden crack of thunder. Emma stopped in her tracks, shielding her eyes from the sun as she tried to spot where the noise was coming from. Around the corner came a sleek black bike, its chrome shining as it zipped down the street. The rider was a young man, dressed in a leather jacket and jeans, with a confident swagger as he slowed and pulled up near the park entrance. The sudden arrival caught everyone's attention. Children paused their games, neighbors looked up from their yards, and even Max's ears perked forward, alert and watchful. Emma felt her heart beat a little faster. She wasn't sure why, but something about the biker's presence felt disruptive to the calm she'd enjoyed just moments before. The rider took off his helmet, revealing a bright grin and tousled hair. He looked around at the small crowd gathering nearby, clearly enjoying the attention. With a loud laugh, he called out, "Nice day, huh?" Emma tugged Max's leash gently, wanting to move away, but curious about what was coming next. The biker's eyes landed on Max, and the grin grew wider, almost mischievous. Emma's stomach twisted when she saw him lift his boot and nudge the dog's side lightly. "Hey, watch it," Emma exclaimed, stepping forward. Max froze for a moment, then shifted his stance, standing protectively between Emma and the biker. There was something in the dog's posture that made the biker hesitate. Max's eyes were steady and serious, not angry, but not playful either. Emma took a deep breath, trying to steady her voice. "He's not just a pet. Max is special. Please don't tease him." The biker laughed nervously, but didn't back away. "It's just a joke, little girl. Relax." Emma glanced around at the faces, watching some curious, some concerned. She held Max's leash tighter. The peaceful afternoon was about to change. The rumble of the motorcycle hadn't just caught Emma's attention. It had turned the whole neighborhood's quiet afternoon upside down. The sudden roar was like a crack of thunder in a clear sky, making birds scatter and children pause mid-laugh. The sleek black bike rolled slowly toward the park entrance, its engine humming with power and promise. Tyler, the rider, was new in town. He had moved from a nearby city only a few weeks ago, bringing with him an air of confidence and a need to stand out. The shiny bike was his pride and joy, polished to a mirror-like finish and decorated with bold stickers that screamed for attention. Every time he revved the engine, heads turned and he soaked in the spotlight like a performer on stage. He parked the bike with a theatrical flair, dragging his heavy boots on the pavement as he swung his leg off the seat. His leather jacket creaked as he pulled off his helmet, revealing sharp features and a grin that suggested he was up to something. The small crowd gathered nearby, including a few teens hanging out by the corner store, exchanged looks that mixed curiosity with a bit of wariness. Tyler glanced around, sizing up the neighborhood and the people who called it home. He wasn't here to make friends, at least not yet. He wanted to leave a mark, to be remembered as someone who didn't just blend in. As he scanned the crowd, his gaze landed on Emma and Max. Emma, clutching Max's leash, looked like any other kid in the neighborhood, bright eyes, a hopeful smile, and the kind of innocence that could disarm even the toughest stranger. But Max was different. The German shepherd stood tall and calm, his posture both relaxed and alert, like a silent guardian watching over her. Tyler smirked. A challenge, perhaps? He had dealt with dogs before and enjoyed the rush of getting a reaction. Let's see what this one's made of, he thought, stepping closer. Emma instinctively tightened her grip on Max's leash, her heart pounding. She knew Max was loyal and well-trained, but something about the biker's presence made her uneasy. The sun warmed her face, but she felt a chill creeping up her spine. "Hey, dog," Tyler called out loud enough for everyone to hear, his voice dripping with mock friendliness. "What's your name, huh?" Emma said nothing, her eyes never leaving Tyler. Max simply sat beside her, calm and composed. Tyler crouched slightly and extended his foot toward Max's side, not a hard kick, but a deliberate nudge, meant to startle or provoke a reaction. "Just a joke," Tyler muttered. Under his breath, Emma gasped and stepped forward, alarm clear in her voice. "Please don't. Max doesn't like that." The crowd held its breath. Max didn't jump or bark. Instead, he slowly rose to his feet and stepped forward, positioning himself protectively in front of Emma. His amber eyes locked onto Tyler's, unblinking and serious. For a moment, Tyler's confident grin faltered. He was used to dogs barking or running off when challenged, but Max was different. There was no aggression, only a quiet, steady warning. "He's not a dog to mess with," someone whispered from the crowd. Emma single quotes S father, Officer Daniels, happened to be nearby, finishing up a community meeting at the library. The noise drew his attention. Spotting Emma and the biker, he quickened his pace, ready to step in if needed. Tyler, still eyeing Max, scoffed and shook his head. "It's just a stupid dog," he said, though the doubt had crept into his voice. He straightened up and turned back to the crowd, trying to regain control of the situation. Emma's voice was steady but firm. "Max used to be a police dog. He's trained to protect, to help people. You shouldn't tease him." The crowd murmured, surprised by the revelation. Tyler's expression tightened, the realization settling in that this was no ordinary dog. Officer Daniels arrived just in time, his presence commanding respect. "That's enough," he said calmly but firmly. "Max is a trained canine, and he deserves respect." Tyler glanced between the officer and the dog, the weight of the moment sinking in. This wasn't the reaction he had expected. Emma stood tall, her hand resting gently on Max's head. The peaceful afternoon was changing, but for once it was changing for the better. Tyler's grin faded as he took in Officer Daniels' calm but firm tone. The realization hit him. This was no ordinary dog, And the man standing beside Emma wasn't just any father. He was a respected police officer, and Max was a trained canine with a serious past. The biker had thought he was just playing a harmless joke, but now the situation was anything but light-hearted. Emma stood quietly, her eyes fixed on Tyler. Max, sensing the tension, remained alert but composed. There was no growl or bark, only a steady, watchful gaze that seemed to say, "I'm ready if you need me." Tyler scratched the back of his neck, feeling the heat of embarrassed eyes watching him. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other, trying to find the right words. "Look, I didn't mean to cause any trouble," he said, voice less confident now. "It was just a joke." Officer Daniels crossed his arms, his expression serious. "There's nothing funny about provoking a trained canine. These dogs work hard to protect and serve, even after they retire. Max here deserves your respect." Tyler nodded slowly, swallowing the lump in his throat. He hadn't considered the consequences of his actions, only the thrill of getting a reaction. The crowd had grown larger, neighbors and kids now watching intently. Sensing a story unfolding right before them, Emma's voice broke the silence. "Max helped my dad find missing people. He saved lives. He's not just a dog to mess with." Her words hung in the air, powerful and sincere. Tyler glanced at Max again. The dog's calm but commanding presence was a reminder of something bigger than a careless joke. Suddenly, Tyler felt smaller, like a kid caught sneaking into a place he didn't belong. Officer Daniels stepped forward, placing a reassuring hand on Emma's shoulder. "Max is retired now, but he still responds to commands and senses danger. Teasing him isn't just disrespectful. It can be dangerous." Tyler looked down at his boots, realizing how lucky he was that Max hadn't reacted aggressively. Trained canine dogs don't just stand there when provoked. They're taught to protect their handlers and themselves. If Max had seen Tyler as a real threat, things could have been much worse. "I'm sorry," Tyler finally said, his voice quieter, more genuine. "I didn't know." Emma smiled softly, the tension easing. "It's okay. But you should learn to respect dogs like Max. They're more than just pets." The crowd began to relax, some nodding in agreement. A few kids whispered excitedly, already seeing Max in a new light. He wasn't just a big dog. He was a hero. Officer Daniels looked at Tyler thoughtfully. "Instead of punishment, how about this? Why don't you spend some time learning about Max and other service dogs? There's a community workshop tomorrow at the center. It's free and open to everyone." Tyler blinked, surprised by the offer. He expected anger or a report, not an invitation to learn. Part of him was reluctant, but another part was curious. Maybe this was a chance to make things right. "Sure," Tyler said after a pause. "I'll come." Emma's eyes lit up. "That's great. You'll see how amazing Max and dogs like him really are." As the afternoon sun dipped lower, the crowd slowly dispersed, leaving Tyler standing there with a new perspective. What had started as a careless joke had turned into a lesson, one he wouldn't forget. Max sat beside Emma, his tail wagging just a little, as if approving the change. Tyler looked at the dog, then back at Emma and Officer Daniels. "Thanks," he said quietly. The peaceful neighborhood had seen a moment of tension, but now a bridge had been built, one of understanding and respect. And for Emma and Max, it was the start of something new. After the brief but tense encounter, Emma felt the weight of the moment settle around her. The park, once so peaceful, now seemed charged with new energy. Max remained close by her side, his body calm but alert, as if sensing the shift in the air. Tyler, still standing nearby, looked uncertain. His usual confidence was replaced by something more thoughtful, maybe even a little respect. But for Emma, the most important thing was Max. She trusted him completely. She knew Max wasn't just acting on instinct. He was trained to protect, to read a situation, and to act only when absolutely necessary. As Tyler shifted uncomfortably, Max took a small step forward, placing himself firmly between Emma and the biker. His stance was relaxed but firm, a clear message: stay back. Emma watched as Max's eyes locked onto Tyler's. There was no aggression there, but the dog's calm intensity sent a strong warning. Max was not a dog to be toyed with. Tyler swallowed hard. He wasn't sure what to expect. A growl? A bark? Something more aggressive? But Max said nothing, only held his ground with unwavering focus. Around him, the small crowd that had gathered grew quiet. Some whispered about the dog's training, while others exchanged knowing looks. Max's silent warning carried more power than any bark could. Emma felt a surge of pride for Max. He had always been her protector, but today, more than ever, she saw how deeply trained and disciplined he was. She gently patted Max's head, whispering, "Good boy." Officer Daniels had arrived by now, watching the scene carefully. He nodded approvingly at Max's behavior. The dog was doing exactly what he had been trained to do: defend, without escalating the situation. "Max is a special dog," Officer Daniels said quietly to Tyler. "He doesn't attack unless he absolutely has to. He protects people, especially those he trusts." Tyler looked at Max again, the weight of those words sinking in. He had thought Max would react the way most dogs did to provocation, by barking or lunging. Instead, Max had stood his ground silently but clearly, warning without violence. "I didn't realize," Tyler murmured, almost to himself. Emma stepped forward slightly. "He's been through a lot. Max helped my dad find people who were lost or in danger. That's why he's so calm now. He knows when to act and when to wait." The crowd listened intently, drawn in by the story. The dog who had once been a hero was still a hero in their eyes. Tyler glanced at Officer Daniels, then back at Emma and Max. "I guess I was out of line. I just wanted to have a little fun, but I see now it wasn't the right way." Officer Daniels smiled kindly but firmly. "It's important to understand the responsibility that comes with meeting trained dogs. They're not pets to be teased, they're partners in service and safety." Tyler nodded slowly, absorbing the lesson. He looked at Max again and this time reached out his hand cautiously. Max didn't move but gave a soft sniff, accepting the gesture without hesitation. Emma smiled warmly. "He can tell when people mean well," Tyler chuckled nervously. "Well, I guess I have a lot to learn." Officer Daniels put a hand on Tyler's shoulder. "Good, that's the first step." The group began to disperse, but the memory of Max's silent warning lingered. It was a reminder that respect didn't always need words or loud actions. It could be shown through calm strength and quiet presence. Emma looked down at Max, feeling grateful for the dog's steady courage. Max wasn't just her companion, he was a protector, a teacher, and a hero. Tyler, meanwhile, walked away with a new understanding. His need to impress had been replaced by a respect for something greater than himself. The afternoon light softened as the neighborhood returned to its usual calm. But for those who had witnessed it, the moment would be remembered, not for the joke that started it all, but for the silent warning that changed everything. Just as the tension began to ease, a new figure appeared from around the corner. A tall man in a dark uniform, his steps purposeful but calm. Officer Daniels had called for backup earlier, sensing the situation might need a steady hand. Now, Sergeant Miller arrived, bringing with him a presence that immediately commanded attention. The small crowd instinctively stepped back, giving room to the two officers and the biker standing near Emma and Max. Tyler looked up, his nervousness deepening. This wasn't turning out the way he'd expected. Sergeant Miller surveyed the scene quickly, then turned to Tyler with a measured look. "I'm Officer Miller. Heard there was some trouble?" Tyler swallowed. No trouble, sir. Just a misunderstanding. Officer. Daniels nodded in agreement. Tyler here thought it was funny to kick Max, not knowing he's a trained canine. Miller's eyes softened as he looked down at Max, who sat calmly beside Emma. Max has been through a lot, Miller said. Retired now, but still sharp. These dogs don't just forget their training. Tyler shifted uncomfortably, suddenly aware of the full weight of the situation. He glanced around at the neighbors and kids who had gathered. Their eyes were on him, expectant, curious, and a little judgmental. You didn't mean to cause. Any harm? Miller asked. No, sir. It was a joke, stupid. I know now. I didn't know Max was special. Miller nodded slowly. Most people don't. That's why we educate. Officer Daniels stepped in. Max was part of the K-9 unit for years, helped find missing people, assisted in arrests. He's more than just a dog. He's a partner. Emma looked up at the officers proudly. He's like family. Miller smiled, then addressed Tyler directly. There's a community workshop tomorrow about service dogs and their work. It's open to everyone. I suggest you come. It might change how you see things. Tyler blinked. Really? I mean, sure. The officers exchanged a glance. They wanted to turn this moment into a positive lesson, not a confrontation. The crowd began to disperse, murmurs of approval spreading. Some neighbors congratulated Emma and Officer Daniels for their calm handling of the situation. Kids whispered excitedly about Max's hero pass. Tyler lingered, looking at Max with something like newfound respect. He bent down and extended his hand slowly. Max sniffed again, this time more closely, then licked Tyler's fingers, a silent acceptance. Emma smiled. He's good at knowing who means well. Tyler chuckled nervously. Yeah, I'm starting to see that. Officer Miller clapped Tyler on the shoulder. Good, we all start somewhere. As Tyler walked away, the officers turned back to Emma and Max. He's lucky to have you, Officer Daniels said. Emma hugged Max tightly. He's lucky to have us too. The sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the neighborhood. What started as a rude joke had become an unexpected moment of connection and understanding. For Tyler, it was a turning point, a chance to grow beyond his rough biker image. And for Emma and Max, it was a reminder that respect and kindness could change even the hardest hearts. The next day arrived with a gentle breeze and clear skies. Perfect weather for the community workshop at the town center. Emma woke up early, excitement bubbling inside her. She couldn't wait to show Max and share his story with others. More than anything, she hoped Tyler would come. Max stretched lazily beside her, sensing the day's importance. Though retired from active duty, Max still carried the pride and discipline of his past. Today, he would be a teacher in his own way, helping the community understand the role of service dogs. Emma, S father, Officer Daniels, had arranged the workshop with the police department and local animal trainers. It was designed to educate people about the work, sacrifices, and respect these dogs deserved. From canine officers to search and rescue teams, the dogs played a vital role in keeping everyone safe. As families and neighbors began to gather, the room buzzed with curiosity and excitement. Children sat cross-legged on the floor, eyes wide as trainers introduced the dogs and their handlers. Volunteers demonstrated how the dogs were trained to respond to commands, track scents, and assist in emergencies. Emma stood near Max, proud of how calm and composed he was. She caught sight of Tyler entering the room, looking around nervously. He hesitated, then took a deep breath and moved closer. Hey, Emma greeted softly, surprised but pleased. You came. Tyler nodded, awkward but sincere. Yeah. I wanted to learn. Officer Daniels smiled from the front of the room. That's the spirit. The workshop began with a presentation on the history of police and service dogs, showing pictures and videos of dogs in action tracking suspects, finding lost hikers, even detecting medical emergencies. The crowd was captivated. Next came the hands-on demonstration. Max took center stage, walking through a series of obedience drills with Emma guiding him. The crowd watched as Max responded instantly to commands, sitting, staying, and retrieving objects with precision. Then, Max performed a simulated search exercise. With a handler's cue, he sniffed through the area and found a hidden volunteer, demonstrating the skill and focus these dogs maintained even in retirement. Tyler watched closely. Fascinated by Max's discipline and dedication, he whispered to Emma, "I had no idea it was this serious." Emma nodded. "They're trained for years to do this. It's not just tricks." After the demonstrations, the trainers opened the floor for questions. Tyler raised his hand and, with encouragement, asked about how dogs like Max adjusted after retirement. "It's a big change," one trainer explained. "But many dogs live happy lives with their families, continuing to serve in different ways. Like therapy or education." Tyler looked thoughtful. "Do you think a guy like me could ever work with dogs like this?" Emma smiled. "Of course, it's about respect and commitment. You've already taken the first step by coming today." The workshop ended with a chance for everyone to meet the dogs up close. Tyler spent time with Max, learning more about his history and the responsibilities involved. Emma saw a change in him, not just in his attitude toward Max, but in how he spoke and listened. As people started to leave, Tyler turned to Emma. "Thanks for inviting me. I never thought I'd understand all this, but I do now." Emma smiled brightly. "I'm glad you came." Officer Daniels clapped his hands. "This is just the beginning. If anyone wants to volunteer or learn more, the department is always looking for good people." Tyler nodded, a new resolve in his eyes. "I want to be one of those people." For Emma, Max, and even Tyler, the day had transformed from a moment of conflict into an opportunity for growth and connection. They had bridged a gap between misunderstanding and respect, between strangers and community. Max wagged his tail happily, sensing the harmony around him. He was more than just a dog. He was a symbol of loyalty, bravery, and the power of second chances. As the sun set over the town, Emma felt hopeful. Sometimes, the hardest lessons were the ones that brought the most meaningful change. The days following the workshop brought unexpected changes to the neighborhood, especially for Tyler. Once seen as just a rough biker looking to stir trouble, he was beginning to forge a new path, one built on respect and genuine curiosity. Started showing up more often at the community center, asking questions about dog training and volunteering for neighborhood watch programs. His rough edges softened, replaced by a quiet determination to learn and contribute. Emma noticed the change too. She had been cautious at first, unsure if Tyler's interest would last beyond the workshop, but each day his actions proved sincere. He wasn't just attending events for appearances. He was genuinely invested. "Max seems to like you," Emma teased one afternoon as Tyler helped her clear leaves from the park trail. Tyler smiled, a little shy. "Yeah, he's a great dog. I guess I never understood how much goes into training a dog like him." Emma nodded. "It takes patience and trust. Max and I have a bond that's grown over years. I want to learn how to build that kind of bond with a dog, and maybe with people too," Tyler admitted. Officer Daniels overheard their conversation and joined them. "Tyler, you're doing good work. It's never too late to change the story people tell about you." Tyler looked up, grateful. "Thanks, officer. It means a lot." In the weeks that followed, Tyler continued to volunteer, sometimes helping with community patrols and other times assisting at the local animal shelter. He even signed up for beginner dog training classes, hoping to one day work with dogs like Max. Emma single quotes his friendship with Tyler grew stronger. built on shared respect and understanding. They spent afternoons teaching Max new tricks and sharing stories about life, goals, and the challenges they faced. Emma admired Tyler's willingness to change and his growing empathy. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the trees, Tyler confided in Emma about his past, a rough childhood, and mistakes that had led him down a difficult path. "I guess I was looking for a way to prove myself, to feel important," he said quietly. "But I see now that respect and kindness matter more." Emma listened, offering support without judgment. Everyone deserves a second chance. Meanwhile, Max continued to be a symbol of hope and strength in the community. His presence at events, school visits, and neighborhood walks reminded everyone of the important work service dogs do and the lessons they teach about loyalty and courage. Tyler's single quotes, transformation, inspired others in the neighborhood, showing that change was possible, even for those who seemed set in their ways. His story spread, not as a tale of trouble, but as one of growth and redemption. Officer Daniels often mentioned Tyler's progress during community meetings, praising his commitment and encouraging others to open their hearts to people willing to change. Emma felt proud, not just of Max, but of how far everyone had come. What started as a painful mistake had turned into a powerful lesson in humility, respect, and friendship. One afternoon, as Emma and Tyler walked Max through the park, Tyler paused and looked around. "You know, this place feels different now. Like there's more hope." Emma smiled. "That's because people are learning to see each other and Max differently." Tyler looked down at Max, who wagged his tail happily. "Yeah, and it all started with a dog's silent warning." Max barked softly, as if agreeing. As the neighborhood settled into a new rhythm, Emma, Tyler, and Max stood at the heart of a community strengthened by understanding and the willingness to forgive. New beginnings, they realized, often came from the most unexpected places. Months passed since the day Tyler kicked Max, and the neighborhood had changed in ways no one could have predicted. What began as a careless joke had blossomed into a story of forgiveness, growth, and community spirit. Emma watched with pride as Tyler became a familiar face around town, volunteering, helping neighbors, and even assisting at the animal shelter. His rough biker image softened into that of a dependable, caring young man. The transformation was inspiring, reminding everyone that people could change when given the chance. Max, ever calm and steady, remained a symbol of loyalty and courage. He attended school visits, comforted those in need, and continued to teach lessons of discipline and respect without saying a word. Children adored him, often running up to pet him and listen to Emma's stories about his heroic past. Daniels and Sergeant Miller had organized a small ceremony in the town park to honor Max's service and celebrate the neighborhood's new spirit of unity. Neighbors gathered, sharing food, stories, and laughter, something that hadn't happened before with such warmth. Tyler stood beside Emma and Max, humbled but proud. When Officer Daniels called him forward, the crowd cheered. "Tyler has shown us all what it means to learn, grow, and give back. He's become a true member of this community," Danielle said. Tyler accepted the applause with a grateful smile. "I never thought a dog like Max and a little girl like Emma would change my life, but they did. Thank you." Emma smiled brightly, squeezing Max's leash gently. "We're all lucky to have each other." The ceremony ended with a group photo, Max sitting proudly in the center, Emma by his side, and Tyler standing tall beside them. It was a snapshot of a community that had faced a moment of conflict and come out stronger. Life in the neighborhood continued with a renewed sense of togetherness. Tyler's story inspired other young people to get involved, to find purpose, and to embrace kindness. The community workshops became regular events, bringing people closer and educating them about service animals and respect. Max's silent warning, the moment that changed everything, became a legend of sorts, a reminder that sometimes the quietest actions carry the greatest power. Emma often thought about that day when Tyler kicked Max. How a simple joke could have ended in disaster, but instead sparked understanding. It taught her the value of patience, forgiveness, and hope. Tyler's single quotes S journey reminded everyone that change was possible, even when it seemed unlikely. All it took was an open heart and a willingness to learn. As the sun set behind the trees, Emma, Tyler, and Max walked home together, their shadows stretching long on the pavement. The neighborhood around them hummed with life, laughter, and the promise of new beginnings. And somewhere deep inside, Max wagged his tail, content in knowing he had helped build something stronger than just a community of family.